Hi guys, hope you had a good week and earned yourself a few quid.
Oh, Mark, wrong video.
Oh yeah, sorry.
Predictions.
Didn't know where I was for one moment then. Didn't know what videos I've been watching. But anyway, yes, it's
Let's not go there.
No, that's the top football predictions and I'm here with Atul Jani.
Hey there.
Mate, first of all, thank you very much, mate. I've been away and Atul taking full control of the predictions, mate. Well done. Thank you very much for doing that.
No problems. It was a little bit rocky at the beginning, but I think everyone also pitched in. So thank you all pundits out there and keeping that predictions chat as only just for predictions and the chat on a separate one. That has really helped because obviously if there is any changes and things, it's helped to sort of like pick up on that straight away. So there's avoided any confusion. So equally thanks to you guys as well. Thank you very much.
Absolutely. And why is it everyone comes in early when you're managing it and when I'm doing it, everyone just breezes in and I have to round them up. But no, anyway, thank you very much, mate. It was absolute brilliant that you took control on those and well, no coincidence, mate. We saw you do well as you've obviously taken control of the predictions. But no, you're doing well, mate. You wasn't game week winner. That was Daniel Ledley, 245 points. The kid's doing well, aren't he?
Hats off. You know, it's a stonking sort of like points. You know, but don't forget, it was closely run by Lee as well, wasn't it?
Lee, 235 points as well. He's really consistent this season. I've mentioned Lee before. He's thanked us for the praise, but I think Lee is a player to watch this game, isn't he?
Yeah, and I mean, pundits, you'll see the table coming out soon and you'll get to study it, but it makes interesting reading. You know, obviously you've got quite a few people scoring big points. Let's just cover those points at the moment this week.
Absolutely.
I mean, there was a few on 135 points, myself included.
I'm just looking down at the sheet, mate. There was 4 players. You had yourself, Charlie, who else got 135? Mad's got 135 points, and Ryan. So that's really well played. Obviously, we mentioned the 2 big ones as well. David Peach, 100 points. Elesh, 105 points. Gary, 100 points. So those players, including yourself, had a good round, to be honest, mate.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, it's a case of people hedging their bets on the Goldfest games with the likes of Man City just scoring willy-nilly at the moment. Yeah. But again, it's just amazing how it all changes as well. But I think a lot of people are paying attention to the actual predictions and just seeing the form as well. It's very important, so well done.
And Lee and Ryan, although we've just mentioned those 2 players, they were the only 2 players to get spot on that Super 6 game, that Arsenal-Liverpool game. So that all helps. That was 100 points because those games are double. But it's Martin, the game winner last season. He's never been too far away, has he, mate? And he's absolutely blockbusted his way back up to the top.
I think like a tactical middle distance runner, they bide their time, they wait, let's see how people are setting the pace, and all of a sudden, classics athletics here.
Absolutely.
You know, he's now gone into the front, whether he's just going to pull everything along, because if you can notice the table when you see it again, there's starting to be a little bit of a breakaway happening.
There is.
Matches, like pretty much marathon long distance running, isn't it?
Yep.
Whether he's going to go forth and just run away with it completely, or whether he's going to pull everyone, and then Daniel Ledley's keeping him in check. So
he is, yeah. We got the benefit, as we always have, of looking at the live tables, and 90 points the difference between Martin at the top and Daniel in second place. And you're quite right with your analogies there, mate. There's some because we saw Lee Marley hit a few Goldfest games, and then obviously Martin's had a couple of weeks where he keeps banging them in as well. So they really, we've said it time and time again, but they really do make the difference, those games, don't they?
For sure they do, and those are quite crucial. If you study the actual prediction sheet itself as well, you're welcome to request that from us.
Request it any time, guys.
You'll see a lot more statistical information as well, and you'll see the likes of Martin. He's got to that position, not just getting there on the 1 or 2. There's consistent 100 plus points.
Yeah.
We were talking about it in predictions towers this morning, and how many was it? 5 or 6 this season already?
I think about 5,
3,
6.
200 plus.
Oh, absolutely. I think when Martin, looking at Martin's stats, I think over four times he's hit over 200 points. And 6 times out of the 11 game weeks, I believe it was, that he's actually at over 100 points.
Well, that justifies the position.
It's incredible, yeah. Dave Shaw's still hanging around up there. Danny Atware, we know what a legend of the game he is, and he always performs well. Ryan's doing well this season. Lee Marley, as we said. So, yeah, those top 5-6 players, and then just out of that bracket, it's not too far down. You've got a clutch of about 4 or 5 players, haven't you? Who's just kind of in there. So it is interesting. Graham's pulling himself up. I mentioned him earlier in the season, so well done, lad. And Gavin as well. See, I've got Gavin in the cup coming up in game week 12, but Gavin just needs a bit more consistency, doesn't he? I think on his predictions. He's doing all right, mine, but you know.
Yeah, he's always threatened, shall we say?
Yeah, absolutely.
But let's just see anyway. Cup competitions.
Absolutely. Just like Spurs threatened to build that stadium one year, but I don't know what's going on. But interesting, and what you'll notice when you see the screenshot, hopefully you'll appreciate as well. You've kind of added your input and formulas onto the sheet, so you can quite clearly now identify who's in the running for that Player of the Month award, which gets 50 bonus points, and it's really interesting, and who's leading the race at the moment. But there's some interesting little battles going on there, mate, isn't there? We come to game week 12, which is fast upon us, and then after that it's yawn time again. There's another bloody international break. What is going on?
Can't get enough of them.
I did have a look though, and it's the last one now until the new year, so let's get it over and done with. But before we get to that, it's game week 12 this weekend in the Premiership. It's also Predictions Cup week, which is game week 3 in the Predictions Cup, and there's all sorts of battles going on. But we've got some interesting games, haven't we? And it kicks off with Cardiff Brighton, which is the first goal scorer game.
Yeah. Again, that's going to be an interesting one. Cardiff, can they pull something together? Yeah. Brighton, I think they're pretty much a steady team now. I think they're accepted. I think they're more of the dominant South Coast team now. If you compare it to Southampton's woe, for example, Bournemouth are steady there as well. So, it's going to be an interesting one, difficult one to predict. It's not always a case of the Cardiff will win or Brighton will win. You really put a lot of thought behind it, yeah. Absolutely.
And then you've got Huddersfield versus West Ham. That's the hot shot game, worth a treble points basically, 150 points if you get it spot on. And well, we're recording this now, so it was last night, wasn't it? Huddersfield, they won 1-0, and which got you 50 points. But yeah, they're a team. I'm not sure they can score some goals, but I think they're more of a home team than an away team. But as I say, they beat Fulham last night 1-0, but at home. But I don't know what to make of that. And West Ham are they could be on the up now, couldn't they?
Yeah, this is the thing. You mentioned the key word there, up. You look at it, West Ham, their players are slowly but surely starting to click. Yep. Whether they can produce that form away. Huddersfield have now been buoyed by their first win of the season on home territory, so that will make them mentally think we can create a fortress here.
And I think they create chances at home, don't they?
That's the thing. So it's going to be an interesting one. Again, no way a foregone conclusion that West Ham might run away with it, because last night's result has changed people's thought process.
Yeah, of course. And then obviously it's an emotional time, isn't it, with the leader of Leicester, God rest his soul, and Leicester play at home to Burnley. I mean, they just won 1-0 away, and the first game after what happened there, but they're going to be at home for the first time since they played West Ham, and that's going to be really emotional down there, isn't it?
Yeah. I mean, on behalf of Predictions, we like to send our sincere condolences to all the Leicester City family. Personally, I've got a lot of family members who are huge supporters of Leicester City, and they have actually been to the shrine and paid homage there at Leicester City, put their scarf down, etc., etc. It is going to be difficult, home game, but it's also going to be equally difficult where I understand that the Leicester City squad were in Thailand, and
they were,
straight after the Cardiff match they flew to Thailand, and I think they're touching down today or yesterday, so it's going to be not just physically they had the game, they didn't have no rest, and mentally they're going to be drained. So whether they can run on that not sympathy, but that
absolutely. Sorry, I've got all sorts coming through here. I've got players renegotiating contracts and people calling me, but what is going on? It's only football. But nice words there, mate, I must admit, and they're going to be playing on emotions, aren't they? And,
and
it's going to be interesting.
So it's an interesting fixture there. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And Newcastle, Bournemouth. I mean, Bournemouth are doing well this season. They really are. I think their manager came under a bit of criticism last season, like he was just doing it. And Newcastle, well, Rafa needs to just silence out all the critics and get on with it, because they've just got a victory as well, 1-0 at the
They
weekend.
did get a victory, and it's going to be interesting. Bournemouth are no longer a pushover team, let's be honest.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, you look at everyone's predictions, quite a lot of people predict them as draws in the majority of their games. So.
Yeah. And Sunday really looks pretty hot, mate. It looks like a super Sunday. We've got the likes of Liverpool, Fulham. I think you've got Chelsea, Everton, which is a standout game. That could be very interesting, because Everton are now picking up some form now. Chelsea very good at home still. Arsenal, Wolves. That's not a foregone conclusion. Wolves are one of the best teams this season. They've certainly performed very well. I think they lost to Spurs at the weekend, but apart from that, they've had some brilliant, creditable performances and wins, haven't they?
Yeah, they have indeed. And just on the back of that, they are going to be going through a tricky spell now. They're playing quite a lot of the big boys now, so they need to pick up points as well. So how they plan against Arsenal are playing really sexy football at the moment, free flowing, and the test was against Liverpool, and they held their ground. So. We shall see. Absolutely.
And then it all kind of ends with, it's the Blue versus the Reds of Manchester, isn't it? It's City versus United, always a difficult one to call. It's a Super 6 game as well. Where's your money on that one, mate?
Listen, mate, I've got to go for City. They are just unstoppable at the moment. But we know Mourinho, he'll always park the bus there at the end of the day. So, De
Bruyne's out again. I mean, likes of myself and Gary, I think, tipped him to be player of the season, but he ain't going to do it from the hospital bed. And he's out for another 5 or 6 weeks. But one goes out, they've got another superstar to bring in, and they are looking pretty scintillating, aren't they, mate?
They are. But questions still need to be asked about their defence. It's not all too. I don't think it's all too secure. They haven't got the right combination in the middle of the defence. It's a case of that they're not letting them score that easily. I think their midfield is quite good. So we shall see.
Absolutely. And just a couple of player performances, really, just to pick out as well. Frank, I think he's only hit the 100 spot twice this season. Not that I'm one to obviously talk about stuff like that, but his performances, what do you reckon? Because he's starting to perk up now, isn't he? He's hitting 70, 80 in the last 2 weeks respectively. People like that. You've got Josh, who's been quite consistent at that level, but need to push on to get over the 100 barrier as well. But they're still very much in the mix though, aren't they? And if they have a couple of good game weeks of 100 plus, mate, they could really go north in their position.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's momentum. You get that momentum. Before you know it, you don't feel as if it's a real burden making these predictions. They naturally come to you, and I think once you're caught in that rut as well, it's difficult to break away. But as we've seen, a lot of people who were at the bottom of the table have started pushing up. So
indeed,
never give up. Doesn't matter which position you're in, whether you're first or you're last. You still got to keep on going. There's loads of games to play.
And that's what I'm saying to myself. I've been away. I've done terrible this season, but I've kind of gone away for a bit of a meditation, kind of relaxation time,
clearing the mind,
clearing all out the negative chi and bringing it all back positively. I'm ready to put some scores on the door. So get your predictions in. It's game week 12 coming up. Attel's done a great job in managing it. Just get them in, and let's see what happens. It's Predictions Cup as well this weekend. Anything can happen.
That's right, pundits. You've got to be in it to win it.